Hello, it's 9 p.m. in Artli. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the President of the Republic received a delegation from Ethiopia. The closing ceremony of Djibouti Labor Employability Project. For the international scene, hunger has seriously increased in the world in 2021, NGOs warns. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, received today at the Presidency Palace a delegation of Ethiopian Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed. This delegation led by the Minister of Finance of Ethiopia, Ahmed Shide, met with the Head of State, Ismail Omar Guelleh. During the meeting with the President Guelleh, the Minister of Finance of Ethiopia has transmitted to the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, a message from the Prime Minister reassuring him that the prices of fruit and vegetables, that of the import of cat, which has caused sharp tensions in recent days between Ethiopian and Djiboutian traders, have all been abandoned. The price of fruit and vegetables that of the import of cat will return to the norms and its former price. In this message, the Ethiopian Prime Minister expressed his solidarity and fraternity with the Djiboutian peoples and government. During the meeting with the Head of State, Ismail Omar Guelleh, it was also discussed the establishment of a joint commission that will institute together from now on the prices and any changes from both countries. In addition to the Ethiopian delegations led by the Minister of Finance, Ahmed Shide, the meeting was attended by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the Minister of Trade, Mohammed Warsama Diriye, the Ethiopian Ambassador to Djibouti, the Secretary General of the Presidency, Mohammed Abdullahi Waisa. The Minister of Finance of Ethiopia, Mr. Ahmed Shide, after his audience with the President of the Republic, said my visit to Djibouti and the message delivered to President Guelleh both relate to the political determinations of Ethiopia to put an end to the dissensions recorded in recent times between traders of the two countries, especially in terms of setting prices for the acquisitions of fruit and vegetables and cat. Our two countries have in common an exemplary economic complementarity that we cannot tolerate. The slightest determination is in confidence. The convergence of views found jointly by the authorities of two countries to overcome the tariff dissensions recorded in recent times, and thus specify that traders from both sides will return starting today. The price initially in force in the economic negotiation is a sign of the high confidence between the political leaders of Djibouti and Ethiopia. It was also decided that any change in tariff in economic and trade negotiations should be established beforehand by a joint commission of the two countries, said Ahmed Shide. For his part, the Minister of Commerce of Djibouti, Mohammed Warsama Diriye, informed that a joint commission will be set up very soon to establish the prices of fruit and vegetables, and that of the import of cat will return to the norms of its price, of its former price. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mohammed Ali Yusuf, said he was confident that the two countries still maintain friendly relations and all the fraternities, and that any problems will be solved quickly. The Committee on Legislation, General Administration and Human Rights, the Committee on Legislation, General Administration and Human Rights proceeded this Thursday, July 7, 2022, under the chairmanship of Honorable Kaltoum Farah Saeed to the examinations of the draft law number 162 EN 28L on the organizations of the Ministry of Youth and Culture. This meeting, which saw the participation of the parliamentarian members and non-members of the committee, took place in the presence of Dr. Hibo Mumin Asowe, the Minister of Youth and Culture, the technician from the Ministerial Department. At the end of the rich and instructive discussion, the project is the subject of a favorable opinion for its transmission and adoption in the public session with the amendments. The closing ceremony of the Djibouti Workforce Employability Project, funded by the U.S. government through USAID today, Thursday, July 7, was held at the Sheraton Hotel, an official closing ceremony of the Djibouti Workforce Employability Project. This project, funded by the U.S. government through USAID, lasted 5 years from 2017 and to 2022 and has as its main objective to improve the technical and behavioral skills of young Djiboutians to enable them to better integrate into the labor market, highly represented by Djiboutian and American officials. This ceremony saw the official participation of the Minister of National Education, Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, the Minister of Labor in charge of Formalization and Social Protection, Omar Abdi Said, the Minister of Education, Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, the President of the Chamber of Commerce, Yusuf Musa Dawale, the U.S. Ambassador, Jonathan Pratt, the representative of the USAID, Leo Jackson, and the project managers of PED, Rene Jamen. The closing ceremony was attended by the senior officials from the institutional partners of the DEP, namely ANUFIP, CCID, and the General Directorate of the Technical and Vocational Education of MENFOP, technical and financial partners, civil society organizations, and many private sectors who have collaborated with the project over the past 5 years. Furthermore, the ambassador of the United States of America, Jonathan Pratt, announced to the officials and participants of the ceremony that the American government will continue its support to the Djiboutian government in the fight against youth unemployment with a new 4-year project with a budget of $16 million that will be launched at the end of this year. The Minister of Labor, for his part, did not fail to emphasize that the substantial contributions of the PED project for the improvement of services and support to ANUFIP in terms of equipment, and especially for the provisions of work placements for more than 500 youth. He recommended that the U.S. government continue its support in the sector of youth employment through other initiatives that reinforce the actions of the Djiboutian government. For his part, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, who closed the series of official speeches, recalled that thanks to the PED project, training curricula have been improved and adapted to the needs of the private sector. The new equipment and technical facilities have been installed in technical and vocational schools. A graduation ceremony was held on July 6, 2022 at the Sheraton Hotel in Djibouti on the occasions of the presentation of certificate to the winners beneficiary of this training of health importance placed under the chairmanship of the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Saleh Benoit Turab. The event also brought together the representative of the World Health Organization in Djibouti, the Director of Programs of AFNET, Dr. Ditu Katambu, Professor Sawadogo Mamadou, the Director General of ENSPD, Dr. Hussein Yusuf Darar, representative of IGAD, as well as many senior officials from several ministerial departments of the country. Also noteworthy was the participation of health officials from the various defense and security forces after the graduations of the 22 participants on February 9, 2022, 24 learners from the Ministry of Health and Constitute Corps, National Gendarmerie, Coast Guard, Djibouti Civil Prison, Republican Guard, National Social Security Fund, and Armed Forces of Djibouti were recruited to the Constitute of the Second Court of the FETP Workforce 3 took place on July 4-5 at the Sheraton.
And with the support from the government of Djibouti, from the Ministry of Health of Djibouti, and also from all the sectors, because health matters are the multi-sectoral approach that will respond to so many of the the needs of the health interventions. Another important point I would like to make is the capacity building. To train the workforce is one of the capacity building activities that capacitate the health workforce to respond to disease surveillance, detection, assessment, and also most of the public health measures will be indicated in this intervention.
In his speech, the Director General of the ENSPD indicated that this training session in file epidemiology have allowed the Minister of Health to considerably improve health surveillance, which he said has increased from 35% to 98% in quantity and quality. In his speech, the Secretary General stressed that the Ministry of Health wanted to strengthen the capacity of its technical and administrative staff to better cope with the various epidemics. The conference room of the National Union of Djiboutian Women, UNFD, hosted this morning's national coordination workshop on the response to gender-based violence. Coordination in a central element of the response to violence against women and girls. It is required by international standards to ensure that the fight against violence against women and girls is comprehensive, multidisciplinary, coordinated, systematic, and sustainable. It is a process governed by laws and policies. It involves a collaborative effort of multidisciplinary teams, staff, and institutions from all relevant sectors to implement laws, policy, protocols, and agreements, as well as communication and collaboration to prevent and respond to the violence against women and girls. The purpose of this workshop is to strengthen the response of services and coordination mechanisms related to gender-based violence and female genital mutilations at the national level. The coordination group will meet regularly in order to ensure the follow-up of the referral protocols in order to operate a clear referral process for survivors, and then at the national, regional, and community levels, ensure that all services providers at the local and national levels understand the different forms of violence against women and girls, their responsibilities in addressing the problems, and how to collaborate in the multi-sectoral system. Still in the news of the country, the mayor of Djibouti and the University of Tennessee proceeded this morning to the signature of a partnership agreement. This signing ceremony took place in the offices of the mayor of Djibouti, Said Daoud Mohammed, and Dr. Jens, president of the University of Tennessee, and concerns the training of executives of the mayor's offices to ensure the animations of the city of Djibouti, the animations of the parks, the private school establishment, and the fight against juvenile delinquency. Under the aegis of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Fishery and Fishery Resources, a medical treatment campaign for the resource a campaign for the medical treatment of nomadic families, livestock in all the region's bush areas has been underway since the region's bush areas has been underway since last March. In this region is located in the southeast of the country. This campaign of delivery of animal medical treatment is conducted in close collaborations with the unit in charges of collaboration with the civil affairs unit of the American Army stationed in our country. It is important to note that this campaign comes at the crucial time when there is a recurring drought through the national territory and even in the Horn of Africa, a scarcity of pastures that weakens the animals' only resources for survival of a bush population. After the bush areas called Bi'idley, Gorgalo, and God Dawa'o Hindi. Last Tuesday, it was the turn of the bush areas called Oboley, distant about 10 kilometers from the chief towns of Ali Sabih, to receive the members of the Ali Sabih to receive the members of this veterinary team around the main waterways well of the sectors. The veterinary teams from the Civil Affairs branch of the Armed Forces in Djibouti were led by the regional directors of the APR and Mahdi Ali Roble. Nomadic families in these rural areas gathered their livestock, which consisted mainly of goat and sheep, around the main water well. As part of the assistance to the victims, a large delegation is led by the prefect of the region of Dekhel, Aden Rar Musa, and the president of the regional council, Mahad Hussein Ahmed, moved to Sankal to supervise the operations of food distribution. The delegation first visited the health post where the chief doctors of the region and his team were strongly mobilized to provide vaccines and necessary care to the local population as well as families displaced by the drought. Then the delegation went to the place of food distribution where 100 households benefited from first food donations sent by local benefactors. This assistance is composed of 25 kilograms of flour, 25 kilograms of rice, and 25 kilograms of sugar, 1 kilo of black tea, and 1 box of date, 1 box of pause, and 1 box of macaroni. And the distribution operations also took place in other localities. Faced with an increase in complaints of the cell phone thief in Balbala town, the judicial police officers of the Hodan police stations have conducted investigations to arrest the perpetrator of these acts. This operation is part of the fight against the thief of telephone, and the elements of the police stations of Hodan have arrested thieves who specialize in the techniques of burglary and snatching. During this operation, the police says it about 15 phones. They also arrested the biggest thief of the telephone of the commune and his accomplice. For more details, the words of the second lieutenant Abdurrahman Mahmoud Hassan. For the international scene, NGOs, we must sound the alarms. The goal of the eliminating hunger by 2030 is getting dangerously far away. Warned Wednesday at the UN, 5 international agencies working for food security, which draw bleak pictures of 2021, even before the start of the war in Ukraine. We had hoped that by now the world would be out of the COVID-19 crisis, but the pandemic is still there, aggravated by conflicts and other humanitarian emergencies. Noted that the Director General of the UN Food and Agriculture Organizations at the conference held in New York between 702 and 828 million people were affected by hunger in 2021, or about 9.8% of the world's population, said in a joint report FAO, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, UNICEF, and the World Food Programs and the World Health Organization. This is 46 million more than in 2020 and 150 million more than in 2019, 2 years marked by COVID-19 epidemic that has permanently weakened food systems. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.